Welcome in, everybody, to a special primer. It is the primer for Season 4 Impact Finals Valencia. And, of course, we had to bring along a special guest with us, as always. Tom Pickering is joining us this time. Great to have you on, Tom.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Big fan of both of you. Absolutely love you guys to bits. You're big supporters of the scene, and yeah, I love seeing your tweets and streams.
My tweets.
We had to get the greatest voice in Counter-Strike to help us with this primer.
Do not tell B-Dog. Do not tell B-Dog.
He's already at his moment in the sun on BFI. It's fine, okay? Yeah, shout out B-Dog, by the way. But no, we don't have a ton of time for this episode, so let's just jump right in, right? Season 4 Impact Finals are here. It's in Valencia. It is, at the time of this recording, next weekend. And we have the group announcements. So Group A, Nigma, FlyQuest, Fluxo, HSG. Group B, Na'Vi, Furia, 9Pandas, Fearless, and Shimmer. We're going to go match by match. Let's start in Group A. Let's start with probably the easiest one to pick, and that is Nigma and HSG. Who are we favoring here? Tom, I'll let you start.
I mean, Nigma. I mean,
yeah. It's not.
I want to be like, you got the chance of the underdogs, but like HSG have not had time since June to pick up the pace.
No, I feel the same way. I feel like I told Parks in an episode ages ago that I felt like HSG are always going to come at you the same way, and I feel like that's kind of the same, like the same HSG that we saw in Season 3, and I think like we're just going to get the exact same Season 4 in Season 4. I'm not saying they couldn't improve, but I just feel like the map pool's exactly the same. The way they play is going to be exactly the same. They didn't fare well in Season 3. I don't think they're going to fail. I love the team, but I don't think they're going to fail.
And we don't see enough of them during the year anyways. Like, there's not a lot of recorded matches. I don't know if that's... Well, we had this throughout all of the first year. We don't know if they're hiding behind Perfect World. We don't know what they're doing in the background playing-wise. We just don't see it. And part of that is because there's not a lot of coverage on the Asia side. Some of that is... There's not a lot there,
True story, real quick. I've actually dove into the 5e website and the Doyu website where they stream Doyu's where they stream the Take Game Goddess Cup, right? When they take place, the all Chinese tournament, and 5e is where they pug and they play any other additional tournaments. There's nothing on 5e for this team really, and Doyu, outside of the Take Game Goddess Cups, there's nothing for this team either.
Yeah.
So if they are playing anything, I can't even see it through the Chinese website. I don't see it at all. Yeah. So I don't know. But Nigma are the best team, man. They've won 5 lanes. So I'm
pretty
I don't think there's any point in going on about it. They're definitely the favorites.
No, yeah, and they dominated already like this season as well for Europe, so it doesn't look like anything's going to change too much. Although who knows, like on LAN things can happen. Maybe Na'Vi or someone else going to be coming through and shining a light. I mean, Na'Vi have done pretty good as well, but we'll get to them.
100%. So next matchup in that Group A is the initial one, FlyQuest Red versus Fluxo, and I think Benny will have like a stroke at the same time. He's like,
probably.
You need like a half and half jersey. You need a FlyQuest Red half and a Fluxo half jersey. That sounds brilliant.
Never suggest such a thing.
You know what? I'm gonna put it out there. I'm an NA fanboy. I do want to credit ESL for this, by the way. Is last season when they did the groups, they had the 2 Brazilian teams and they had the 2 NA teams in the same group, and I don't know why that happened. We'll never find out. Truly, we'll never discover why. However, what we do have is the separation now. So FlyQuest Red versus Fluxo going up, and I'm gonna give it to FlyQuest Red, and I think this goes twofold. One, FlyQuest Red have been very strong in advanced coming into this. Like they like crammed all of their advanced matches into because they've got the end of the season coming up. They ended up being 6-6. I want to say like they finished 500.
Wow, that's a big improvement.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
And Fluxo on the other side, like they struggled in Masters Femenina this season. So it's both sides of the coin kind of come up. But Fluxo are in a bit of a downward trend right now, and FlyQuest Red are continually going up. And I mean, FlyQuest are on a boot camp in Europe right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fanboy of FlyQuest Red. It's hard not to be. Me and Sam, we covered pretty much all of North America for Season 3 and a lot of Season 2 as well, and just got a lot of love for North America. It's just the fact that it's just dominated by this one team because there's not enough of a competition out there. There has been some promise in some of the other teams. We've had Shimmer
Yeah,
in some place, but I'm not gonna like the skill level there is not high enough to be able to cultivate the well the skill they need to be able to compete against other teams like Nigma and such. We've seen it on LAN, we've seen it in scrims and other things as well, where they just struggle against these squads. But the potential savior here is their performance in advance and the fact that they've shown improvements here outside of Impact, because Impact's great, go 7-0, yay, but we've seen that from them before, and during obviously the finals in season 3, they did fantastic against Shimmer. A little bit of hiccups here or there, but then as soon as they go up against a team that's not in the North American League, they get absolutely brutalized.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at this specific matchup, I like what Park said about it feels like Fluxo are going through that trough. They're in a boot camp in Europe as well, by the way. They just posted they're in Barcelona today. They flew in yesterday. But
yes.
point that I think if you gave me this matchup in season 3 with the way B4 we're playing, I'd have said B4 all day are going to take this. I don't think that's the case. The change of CS2, they've really struggled. They lost the BGS final, and they lost in the BGS regular season to MIBR. You come around to Masters Femenina. They lose to MIBR in Masters Femenina. They lost to Atrix, who were Morcreas before they got signed, in Superliga Femenina. So they're dropping domestic results against these other teams in the leagues, right? And it's one of these things where that to me is a worrying sign. And now FlyQuest, like you said, it's a big improvement from last season, 6-6. I'm pretty sure the previous 2 seasons they only finished on 3 wins in advance, which is just enough to stave off relegation. So it was one of those things where they went from fighting for advanced place to a 500 season, which is their best result in the last 3. So, and if you stretch that back to Maine, when they were in Maine before they got promoted, it's like the best result in the last 6. So definitely up on the rise, FlyQuest. So I think definitely I'm with you there. I think FlyQuest takes it. Now that would mean that our lower bracket match is going to be Fluxo versus HSG, and I only see one way that goes as well, and I think that's the way of Fluxo.
I would agree. I think we have to rate HSG a little bit lower as the time has gone on here, because they did surprise us in season 2. They were really good in Sweden back then, and it kind of carried over to them going to invited into the next LAN and everything like that, and kind of pushing forward like that. But like we said, the time has gone on. The players you got some demos to figure them out. The roster changed a little bit, and we haven't seen any reps. I think that's my issue. Is you could have the best 11 in any kind of soccer match, but if you're not practicing every single week, versus a team that may not be as good but has that run of form coming in, like, you're gonna struggle to get to that point to then be able to compete. So I think it's a Fluxo victory here as well.
I agree. Similar issue from HSG onto FlyQuest Red, but kind of on steroids. And it's about like mirroring what you're saying there, that they don't have the same ability to be able to practice and scrim against teams that are of high level. That we know of. Like, again, information is lacking heavily. We may be missing some key points, but it's got to go the way of Fluxo here.
Yeah, I agree. So the upper bracket match is then FlyQuest versus Nigma. I'm not.
It's a best of one. Flip a coin.
It's still got to be Nigma, isn't it? So, the problem I have here is that even if FlyQuest play the best that they can play, I feel like this is going to go towards the overpass. And if I'm a team that has to play Nigma, I don't care how good Overpass is in my map pool. I'm not picking it against Nigma. I want something else. So
Ancient. Play Ancient. I love Ancient.
I mean, Nigma's 3 best maps are Ancient, Overpass, and probably Inferno. Okay. So I'm saying, like, it's.
So do we hold on? It's NA. Hold on.
That's
do we plug him out? Plug him out on
Yep.
Mirage. Pug him out on Mirage, man.
I think that's what you have to do. I think you have to try and pug him out on Mirage. Really, I don't think you win that battle. So,
no,
but given that, I don't think FlyQuest are even going to go for that. I think it's going to be towards the overpass. Don't fancy them at all at the overpass. Beyond does very well where she's positioned, but if you've seen how FlyQuest set up, they tend to isolate her towards the long side and trust the skill that she has to hold that down. And I think Nigma are really good to just go and take that map control away by just absolutely obliterating Beyond at long. It was a big problem or it was a potential problem, I should say, in the 9 Panda series for FlyQuest. They brought Calde up with the AWP to support her at party,
Yes, I remember
and
that
they were able
change.
to turn the result around a little bit there. But I think Nigma are going to know that, and they're just going to absolutely take advantages of those gaps in the defense.
Yeah, Enigma are too smart. They're going to be able to just tear them apart. If it is on overpass, I don't see it going the way of FlyQuest Red. Yes, sure, it's their go-to map, but that's also a big issue. It just gives Enigma more ammunition to go through, and I think they're a stronger team from an analysis perspective. I would like to see a different map, but again, I don't think it's going to happen. It'd be funny to see Anubis, but again, I think Enigma win on that one. And Mirage, yeah, I think Mirage is probably their best chance.
Yeah.
Okay, that leaves us with the decider match between FlyQuest Red and Fluxo again, and I think again I kind of look into this and gonna go, gonna be FlyQuest Red. Again, I think it's a consistency issue. With Fluxo's gameplay, whereas the downward trend. We've seen them go up against they went up against Atrix during Masters Femenina, and it was a close run series. And Atrix is a good team; they're on the way up as well. With Bokor and all that, but it's a weird thing to look at that and go, they struggle against the bigger teams as well, and it's a close run series against a team that's on the rise. So I don't know. I look at that and I go, FlyQuest Red is a very strong team. They're gonna take the lessons that they learned in their match against Nigma, and they're gonna push that forward and go through into the playoffs.
Yeah, Goose is a fantastic IGL, and just in general, they have a very strong support team behind them. Which, if they fall against Nigma, which I imagine that they'll go into it and they'll try their best, but I'm sure they're not going to be able to take that one. So it's like, okay, how do we go through further? Okay, we're going to be going up against likely Flux. So how do we beat that game and have a focus on that front and use the previous one as a warm up? And in that way, I think they'll be able to do it for Fluxo. They're very hot-blooded in a lot of ways, like a lot of South American teams have been, just classically. Really good attribute from them. It's just going to be a wild card for them on who's going to show up, if they're going to be able to pick the pieces up after going into, obviously, this last hurrah.
Yeah, I think if you look at the teams as well, because Fluxo's perma is Mirage, so you're not going to get that. You're probably going to get Overpass, Nuke, and then Anubis. And I would say definitely Fluxo have a chance to pip that Nuke off FlyQuest. We don't see it enough from them. Overpass, FlyQuest are going to make their bread and butter on. But the Anubis is where I'm worried about. So I think it's going to be a 3-mapper because Fluxo have had all the confidence in picking it. They have no problem picking Anubis, but they're not any good on it. Mate, they've lost it almost every time they've picked it, and they got absolutely demolished by Furia in Masters Femenina when they did pick it. It was like a 13-4. They dropped it to MIBR as well. They were 12-6 down and ran back to overtime just to lose it in the overtime. So it's like, it's one of these things where there is some glaring inconsistencies with Anubis, with Fluxo. And I have a feeling that they're going to be confident in themselves and pick it, which I give them all the credit for. Not 100% sure they're going to win it, though. And that's why I think they fall short. So I'm willing to say it's going to be a 3-mapper. Not willing to say it's going to be Fluxos, though. I think FlyQuest Red make the playoffs again here.
All right.
I will just quickly add in.
Yeah.
I think that storyline between Fluxo and FlyQuest Red is going to be the best thing about Group A. Like, that's going to be the best part we're going to be watching throughout it all. Nigma, cool, they're great, but that's going to be a easy flow of games for them.
All right, pushing forward then. So that will be Nigma and FlyQuest Red going through into our playoffs. Group B then. First matchup in that one, Furia and 9 Pandas Fearless. Oh, that's a toss up. There are some interesting matches coming through.
No, it's not.
Are you sure?
No, it is not.
Come on, we had her on the stream, man. We had her on
Furia,
the
baby. That's awesome.
We had Fatal on the stream, and he does this.
Listen, Furia are playing arguably the best CS they have played since the Impact Circuit got announced. They were phenomenal in Season 1, you remember. Really almost won it off of Nigma. However, since then, they picked up Anna X from Black Dragons. Big reason why Black Dragons made the Season 3 land. She's been phenomenal. She's been one of the players of the year. And since then, Furia, you'll remember they qualified for Serie A in Brazil, which is the second highest level. It's the first time any women's team has met that. They've just come in from Masters Femenina. They steamrolled everybody in Masters Femenina. They've won that for the 5th time in 8 editions. Like, they are really, really firing on all cylinders. Nine Pandas are a very good team. Don't get me wrong, but we're not talking Furia versus Navi, which are going to have more difficult. We're talking Furia versus Nine Pandas here, and I don't think they're going to stop them. I just think Furia are way, 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 way too good.
Yeah, Furia.
Sorry. Sorry.
Well, it was that moment. It's like, well, do I have anything to add to this?
Yeah.
I mean, not really, because it's the truth. I really like Nine Pandas. I love their lineup, and I think they've got some core, solid talent in there that just needs more time brewing and more time fermenting. Maybe a mix-up of the squad over the next year or so, just to try and find the right balance. But it's difficult when a lot of the best team players on, obviously, Na'Vi and Nigma within EU. So they're going to be putting up a fight. I don't think it's going to be a rollover for them whatsoever. But Furia, like we've just been saying, they're on the rise. They are looking hot.
100%. I mean, if you are Nine Pandas too, so you're going, listen, we're still a very good team, and if they're going to consistently, make these lands, that's pretty good on its own, considering, how many teams make these lands. But yeah, so we'll stick with Furia going through. Navi against Shimmer. I don't think we need to touch on this too much. It's going to be Navi going through. Shimmer are good.
I don't think Shimmer are going to get pushed over, though.
No,
I think they'll be a little punchy.
Shimmer are a very punchy team. We've seen that when they faced off against FlyQuest Red in here in NA, and when they played up against Enigma, I want to say there was a lot of chances that they brought themselves forward on that ancient match in Dallas, but it's just one of those things of like, it's coming, it's on the way, but it's not exactly there. Bouchard coming in has been a huge boost to them, and I know with the player turnover that they've kind of had mid-season as well. They brought in an Aussie and Phoebe, so that's been huge for them.
That's why I think they'll struggle, actually, because I thought they were very well led.
Yeah,
and I still think they're well coached as well, but I think like it's.
So there's another point, I guess, to put forward is Snap is not coming with them for the LAN. That's the unfortunate bit. I jokingly said, let me coach for them. I can't, unfortunately. The roster lock already happened, so I can't be behind them to, push them on and motivate them. But it is unfortunate. They've been... I think they'll do all right. They'll keep it competitive, and I don't see them winning any of their matches. Unfortunately, it's one of those things, right? They've gone into a group of death, essentially. So
yeah, I mean, you can see that they were like looking at FlyQuest Red, it's like, all right, so you've got a Aussie, you got a Canadian, all right. So the last piece of the puzzle for them is to pick up a French player and also then get a Romanian coach.
You're right.
Yeah, they'll be up there soon. Again, yeah, you covered it. I'm not going to dive into it anymore.
What if the bingo card? Sorry, Benny, to cut you off here. What if the bingo card he has to be named Munster, because there's 2 NA coaches named Munster.
Two now? Yeah.
What if it's the other way? Sorry, Benny, your point coming forward.
That would be funny.
That brings us to our next match, which will be, let's do the eliminator, which is Nine Pandas versus Shimmer. Don't think that a lot of time needs to be spent on this either. I do like the girls in Shimmer, but Nine Pandas are a very good team, and this is just a one-sided affair, I think. I think you got to give it to Nine Pandas the whole way.
Agreed. I think Shimmer again will put up a bit of a fight, but this isn't the time for them. They need more time in the oven, so we'll have to see what they do next season. Fatal is, but like these players like Victoria, they're absolute monsters on the server. We've obviously said they're not going to be able to beat out like Furia. So yeah, but we said they put up a fight against Furia, so they're definitely going to be able to try and smash Shimmer here. What maps are they going to go for though?
I don't
know,
honestly.
Nine Pandas and Shimmer. Probably the Overpass is at least going to be played. You have to expect that, I think.
Ancient.
Maybe Inferno as well.
Ancient will be in there, I think.
Yeah, Ancient will probably be in there.
I'm gonna side on this, and I'm gonna say it's probably gonna go 3 maps. I'm gonna throw it out there. I think it's gonna be a 3-mapper. I think it's gonna be a close second map that gets to the third one. I don't know.
So they lose the 2 pretty handily, but then they win a scrappy.
Yeah, they win a scrappy
okay,
second. I think that's where I'm going with it. I think they like really do well in their map pick, because they are strong when they are when they're fully working together and they have their their map decisions going forward. So
I mean this by no offense, but I had a clip, Tom, from last season when I said I know it is going to happen. Shimmer are going to get clapped. And that was against Nigma. I just copy paste that statement. Okay. Just
Sure.
copy paste. No offense to Shimmer, but that's how I feel about going up against 9 Pandas.
Upper bracket.
Our winners match, Furia and Navi. Ooh, this is tight. This is a lot closer than I think a lot of people are going to give credit for. I will give the winners match to Navi. I think they have a lot of credit. I think Furia definitely can take them down. I think you're going to be surprised at what we see. Actually, no, scratch that. That doesn't work with my narrative. That doesn't work with the narrative I'm cooking for the playoffs. So let me cook and say Furia are going to go in via the winners bracket. I mean, it's the potential. I think this is the biggest toss up in the group. So
I would agree.
you know, I think
Yeah.
there's definitely the potential that Furia is done here, and I think that I'll hedge my bets and say they will.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the best, I guess, series or like most intense series. I still think the longest interesting series out of this initial group stage will be FlyQuest Red versus Fluxo. But yeah, Furia versus Na'Vi. Who's going to win that bloody game? I'm going to go with Furia. I think Furia are going to be able to take this. I think Na'Vi are a strong house. And again, it's going to be a flip up on the day as to what's going to happen. But I think South America, especially after recent events, they're going to be fired up for this. And I think Furia definitely going to be using that to their advantage.
Yeah, I'm going to side with Tom on this one. I think Furia take it. I think it's close. I think it's a three mapper. I think it's a three mapper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
We definitely three. It'll be the series that you'll see me screaming a lot. I think they're hopefully you'll get like pans over the stands and you'll see me run around.
I hope the fans are there, man, because Furia always travel well. So
Yeah.
I hope they show up and they're in full voice.
If I don't hear, just as an aside, if I don't hear Poppin's mom screaming like "Go Fluxo," like I don't know what I'm
She's
gonna
in
do.
Valencia.
She's in.
I love it.
Beautiful.
I love her to bits. Like when Poppins was first playing, and me and Sam we interviewed Poppins. I think it was her first game as well.
Yeah.
And because obviously like there's a delay on the stream, and so it was probably like when the stream was catching up and we were interviewing her, her mum had just seen that they won, and all you hear in the background is her mum just going wild, and me and Sam just like our faces brighten up, and we're just like, yeah, this is it, absolutely love it, and
Amazing.
she's like completely nervous, loving it.
She for Masters Femenina, real quick, she sat on the floor like next to her while she was playing, and you could see Poppins like go to fist bump her after Fluxo running around and stuff. I'm like, this is so great.
Beauty.
I love it.
So yeah, that puts Furia through, and that leaves the cider match between Na'Vi and 9 Pandas Fearless. I think this one goes to Na'Vi. I think we have historical record on that as well, considering that they've played in the same group a couple of times now, and it always just seems that 9 Pandas Fearless can't get over that Na'Vi hump. It wasn't even close last. They played week 5. It was 13-10, 13-7. So
yeah,
that's something to keep in mind. Is just Na'Vi in terms of levels of EU, they're there. So yeah, I'm gonna throw that towards Na'Vi and say they're gonna take it.
Yeah, I agree. I think for whatever reason, Na'Vi just like some of the players seem to be a bit of a kryptonite for the ladies on 9 Panda. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how they're going to go about that and change it up. I don't think there's enough time for them to have made enough tactical decisions or train or whatever to jump up that level in which they knew to, especially as you were saying with their recent results. Not going to happen. I don't think it's going to be a crazy affair. A crazy affair where Na'Vi just beat them 2-mapper, like that's it. It's going to be 3 maps again. I think pretty much every game in this bracket is going to be.
Yeah, except for maybe the Shimmer series versus 9 Pandas. I mean, Park said it could be, and I could see a scenario it will be. I could see a
3-mapper, but there's a lot that has to happen for that to work.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I want to put my faith in Shimmer. Listen, we have jerseys for them. Like I love these girls so much. So I want to see them succeed. I want to see NA succeed. So that's where I stand with all of that. But yeah, so we'll put through Na'Vi and Furia then. So then the semifinals, the first matchup would be Enigma Galaxy going up against Na'Vi.
Yeah.
That is quite a semifinal.
Yes. Tom, you want to go first on this one? I'll put you on the spot.
I'm glad it's these two teams in the semifinals. Like, it means there's that opportunity for someone else to take the trophy, because out of all these teams, they would both be my favorites for being able to win this whole thing. Just straight up Navi and Nigma. I don't think that's a stupid decision or thing to say. I think everyone probably agree, aside from like from a logical perspective anyway, not emotional. So yeah, I think within this mix up, I think Nigma are just going to take it. I think it'll be a close affair, but I think Nigma are just going to be able to ball over Navi in the end.
I think I agree. I think there's I've said the Parks before. There just seems to be a mental block that Navi haven't been able to push through because they're a very good team. They played Nigma really well in that second map of the grand final. On that comeback, but that first map. Was it the first map?
It was the first map.
Oh yeah,
I pulled up the scores because I knew this was going to get
right. But then they took a while because they lost it and it was so close. They took a while to get going in the second map, and it really just
they never came
hampered
back.
them. So so it's something about the mental block that they haven't been able to break through yet. I don't think they break through it here. I'm with you, Tom. I give it to Nigma. I think they're going to make the final. I wouldn't say that the two favorites are Navi and Nigma, but I would say that Nigma are going to go through to the final yet again.
Okay, that leaves us.
Well, they can't be the favorite. They can't both be the favorites because they're in the same lineup. So
there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
You're saving yourself there a little bit. FlyQuest Red versus Furia is the other semifinal match.
Oh God.
I'm gonna be honest. I look at these two teams and I look at where they're coming in from and everything like that. I'm gonna stick it to Furia, and I think it's gonna go a full 3 maps. I think we get some OT pass maybe in there. I think there's a little bit of yeah. I'm trying to hit the buzzwords to make Benny happy here. I think it goes through. I think it goes to Furia though to get to the grand finals.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, Furia. I think they're just at a slightly higher skill level in some ways versus FlyQuest Red. I also think there's a couple of issues on FlyQuest that, like, I can't quite put my finger down on it. Originally, it was like, okay, BBN's like messing up a little bit on Overpass, but she brought that up and fixed it completely, and massive kudos to her. Because like throughout the whole of season 3, me and Sam were like, okay, what is going on here? Why is she stumbling? But she fixed it towards the end and into this new season as well.
Yeah.
But there's still something there where I don't know if it's just because of the teams they're scrimming against and going against in the season. Maybe the edge they needed was going through advanced and being able to get a better score up there. But again, Furia, they've had the similar story, but against potentially better teams. So I think Furia are going to be taking this, but again, 2-1.
I agree, 2-1. I think we're going to see Mirage, and we're probably going to see Overpass. And I think there's a chance, there's definitely a world where FlyQuest can tip them on both those maps, right?
Yeah.
But if we get Ancient, if we get Anubis, I mean, Furia are going to blow them away on Anubis. Teams need to be aware that Anubis is the #1 map for Furia right now. It's not the map they play all the time, but they feel comfortable picking it in every best of 3, and they just blow teams away in them. So be careful of Anubis and Furia. But I'm with you. I think 2-1 Furia all the way. And that leaves us with our grand final, gentlemen. It leaves us with Furia versus Nigma. Parks, I'll start with you.
Whew.
Who do you have?
I'm going to say Nigma. I'm going to take the safe answer. I think it goes 3 maps. I think it's a return to the format we got in the first year where it was Furia versus Nigma in the grand finals, and like it was just punch for punch across the entire series and like just dropping stuff. I don't see Nigma losing again though, and I haven't watched enough EU to know where they kind of sit, how their form is coming into, how their form was all season and everything like that. If it was just business as usual the entire way. I don't know what will stop Nigma except NIP when NIP were really good last season. So that's
when NIP had Paulie.
Yeah.
Now they don't have Paulie.
No, they don't have Paulie anymore. So I'll stick with Nigma on this. I think we're gonna get a big like this is the marquee match. This is where you got these guys going punch for punch across the entire thing.
It's going to come down to little things for Furia. If they're able to get a crack in the armor of Nigma, they might just be able to break it in. But we saw, oh my god, Nigma in season 3 finals, like they were ill for a lot of it. Like they were suffering, and they obviously dominated. They just went straight through, so they're fine. They're able to have a bit of a recovery day. But even then, like being ill, dealing with jet lag, everything, they still just played an A-class game when it comes to impact. So I struggle to see it. It really is going to have to be down to the fact that if there is a crack in their armor somewhere, and Fury are going to have to work absolutely hard to try and find it, and I just don't know if that's going to be possible in the time they've got. Three maps. I think it is going to go the full way. If they can somehow get Anubis on there, which might be a possibility, then who knows? Maybe. But again, you've got the firepower from Enigma. Enigma might just be able to blast through that. They might be like, yeah, you know what? We're going to take them on this map. We're going to make this interesting. If they did that, love it. But Enigma, I think, I'm going to win this.
I think Fury are going to win this LAN. I think Fury are going to win this LAN. So I think the crack in that armor is Anubis. And I think you can entice Nigma to play it because Nigma want to play it. And it's in their map pool. And I think you're going to see it. I think, you know, you might get the overpass as well. I don't fancy Furia if you do get the overpass, but on that map at least. But you know, Fury are very good on Inferno. They play Mirage. They're the second best team in Brazil on Mirage. The only other team that's better than them in Brazil on Mirage is MIPR, and that's because MIPR will pick it every single opportunity that they get.
Oh my God.
So it's one of these things where the map pool of Fury is actually really deep. So if they can avoid overpass and they get the Anubis, which I think is a very real possibility, or they get both and they trade those maps 1-for-1, it comes down to the decider. I actually think Fury have figured it out, man. I think they're very well managed, they're very well coached, and I think they're firing unbelievably well right now. So if we see any hint of the Fury that we saw in Masters Feminine 8 or in Syria B playoffs that got them promoted to Syria, any hint of that, then I think Nigma are going to be in for a real big surprise. I'm ready for it. I keep picking it partly with my heart because I just want somebody else to win the LAN. So please, for the love of God. But I think it is going to be Fury this time. And I think I said, Tom, last season that I thought B4 had the best chance to take Nigma down. They looked pretty good in that semifinal. It just really kind of fell apart on the Inferno with the apps push from 23. So I think it's one of these things where that's the same scenario. I think Furia have the best chance of the 8 teams at this LAN to take him down. And I think they're going to get a really good opportunity to in the final.
Yeah, I mean that B4 game, I remember obviously sort of being there and my heart just sort of breaking as I saw it collapse, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Because it was building up and it was like, there's hope, there's no hope.
There was a really good chance.
Yeah, again, so you were talking about the map pool there. I think that we should definitely have a look at, like, obviously Na'Vi versus Nigma. Nigma just straight up removed Anubis from the map pool last season in the finals.
Yeah.
So it's really going to be having, like, coming down to what you're saying there, Benny, is that they're going to have to try and just, like, chuck in the bait and then reel them in of, like, face us on Anubis, cowards. Like, come at us. You've won every other season.
Yeah, prove you're the best.
Come on, bro. Yeah.
All right. Well, that is going to be the Pixel lock, and then we are going to say the 2-1 for Nigma on that. Well, it's like you're a little bit outvoted, but you sway me a little bit, Benny. I'm not going to move from my Nigma pick though. I'm going to stick to my guns on that. Yep. I really want. I would say my heart really wants Fury to win. My brain is telling me, you know what? You just got to keep going back and back to Nigma on this. So that is going to be our predictions for Valencia. Tom, thank you so much for joining us on this. I know you were kind of cutting it close today. I do appreciate you hopping with us. Enjoy the rest of your time. And I know the talent isn't in Valencia. Are you going to Valencia yourself, or?
No, I am not. I wish I could, but I am busy, so I'm not going to be able to go. But it's going to be amazing. I'll be watching some of the VODs and watching it. But yeah, would have been great, but unfortunately, not this time around. Maybe next year.
Well, that being said, we'll be back next week. A little bit delayed with the regular episode because I got to travel home myself. Thank you so much for watching. Benny, any last thoughts before we get out of here?
No, we're good. Thank you so much for watching. Follow Tom on all his socials.
Yes, follow Tom, please.
Definitely. And thank you for watching. We will see you in a week's time. Take care.